Hi everyone, and welcome to Megsmenopause Insta Live with the wonderful menopause dietitian Nigel, and he will be joining me today and we will be discussing IBS.
Hi, lovely
I
girl. How
hear
are
it.
you?
How are you?
I'm brilliant, thank you.
So pleased to have you back.
Thanks for having me. It's been phenomenal since I spoke to you last.
Oh, I'm so pleased that you could help so many women. I mean, the messages that came through were just so heart-wrenching,
Mm,
and it is just so lovely that, that we can actually help these women.
isn't it?
And, because a lot of women, I have to say this, number one, they don't have time,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
to go to the doctor, or even to get an appointment, because at the moment with the NHS, and also it's overrun anyway. So with what we're going to discuss today, most people would not go to probably see a professional about
Oh,
it.
no, you're so right.
And I've been looking, because I didn't really know much about IBS, except I did find this in my cupboard, which would make you laugh.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh, yes. I thought I'd get that out. That will make him laugh. But so this will be great that you can, shine a light on the
Yeah,
symptoms, because when I was looking at it, and, it can be from having diarrhea or having constipation,
oh,
or, I mean, there isn't anything, is there? There is not an actual line that you can draw with
no.
IBS.
And it's why, in so many ways, Meg, it's really quite similar in a lot of respects to exactly what we talk about with menopause. That
Yeah,
ultimately what we're looking at is a change, is you noticing something is really quite different. And you're absolutely right that it's another one of these collection of symptoms or syndromes that if you sit down in front of your GP, it's not that black and white. It's not something you can really get to grips with in a 6 or 7 minute consultation. It takes
yeah,
quite a lot of time to
yeah,
unravel it and pick it apart and understand what's going on. So the vast majority of women who are struggling suffer in silence. They keep quiet.
yeah.
They're much more happy to talk about their dry vagina than they are about the fact that they might actually poo themselves or,
Yeah, and
have an
I was
accident.
shocked with that. IBS to me was just an irritable bowel syndrome, what it stands for. I thought it was like a grumbling, maybe
Yeah,
just being, feeling what I would just think, maybe overate, felt a bit bloated. But I thought, well, I'll go on a few sites and read it. And I was quite shocked how, depleting this IBS, and we should take it a lot more and talk about it a lot
yeah,
more, you
it is
know.
grim. We're essentially what we're talking about is this isn't exactly as you say, this isn't a dodgy tummy after a curry or a bad pint.
Yeah,
This is something that is with you quite frequently, and it comes along in a combination of different symptoms. So in order essentially to get your diagnosis,
yeah,
you're looking to see whether you experience any three of these things fairly regularly over a 3 or 4 week period. And they could be bloating. And I'm not
yeah,
talking about, again, just a slightly sort of cyclical bloating.
yeah.
What I'm talking about is over the course of your day, your tummy literally expands like it's a football. I mean, it's
Wow.
hard, it's really
Oh,
uncomfortable.
and you're
Yeah.
self-conscious, of
Oh,
course.
awful. Bloating is one thing. You might, and you probably would, if you're experiencing bloating, you're going to experience abdominal pain. And that can be quite similar to PMS type cramps in your tummy.
Okay, yeah,
We might experience, exactly as you said, you might have constipation. you might then have diarrhea, and you might fluctuate from one to
Wow.
the other. So you completely lose any of the predictability of when you're
Yeah.
going to need a
So you
poo.
can't really say.
No.
So would it be good to keep a diary, would you
Oh,
suggest?
you know me already. I love my diaries. I've
Okay,
got
yeah.
an IBS symptom diary that if
Mm.
anybody wants to contact me, I will send it to them. And it's a very, very good way to track what's going on. And actually, just tell yourself, you're not going balmy. You know, this is
Yeah,
something real. So we've got bloating, we've got abdominal
yeah,
pain, we've got the fluctuation between constipation or
yeah,
diarrhea, or
yeah.
you might just get one of those.
One or the other,
We've
yeah.
got urgency, you know, that I need a poo and I need it right
Yeah,
now feeling.
I'd never even heard of that. So that was a
Oh,
real shock. That's when I saw that. I thought, really, people cannot actually hold on.
very
I
much
know
so.
we, in menopause, we have, weak pelvic floors, which, in the gym, all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah,
oops, oops, But I
yeah.
mean, the thought of actually being out and not being able to make it, I mean, that probably to
Could
me
you
frightens
imagine?
me more than
Yeah,
anything. I mean, how humiliating, and because I didn't even know that. You would just think, oh my God, what's wrong with that woman? I mean, that's
yeah.
awful to have that.
And it is incredibly common. So we've got that urgency.
Yeah.
Then we have another thing which it always quite makes me smile. You've got to keep a sense of
Okay,
humor.
well, yeah, of course we
But
have
it's
to.
called incomplete evacuation, when you literally,
I was like,
you're
going to
on the
war.
loo, you've had a poo, but you think there's more where this came from and I haven't finished. That sort of feeling. That's
Right.
exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
And then other things that women can see might be blood in the stools, which
Oh,
isn't
really? Like
necessarily
cancer or something
yeah,
really? Yeah,
doesn't mean that, but it does need investigating.
of
And
course.
you also might get mucus in the stool, and that's when, if you have a look when you've been,
Yeah.
like I'm looking now,
Yeah, yeah, I can see you
like
looking
you
down
do.
there. Yeah.
And you just kind of see a cloudy, white sort of mucusy thing in the
Yeah.
water. That isn't quite right as well. So
Oh,
you need 2 or 3 of these symptoms, and you need to experience them regularly and over a measured period of time. That
yeah.
essentially,
Mm-hmm.
quite often, if you saw your doctor, he might say to you, we're going to send you to a gastroenterologist, and they might do endoscopy, camera down the throat, or
Yeah.
colonoscopy, camera up the bottom.
That way. I've had that
Yeah,
way.
and we can go either way. And
Yeah.
once we've done that and
Very uncomfortable. I
established,
had that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, oh, you don't want to have them both at the same time. I tell you, you don't know whether you're coming or going. But uh, what you hope from that is then you discover there isn't anything sinister, and
Yeah.
very often, very rarely is there. But of course, what that then means, and gastroenterologists are great, but unless they're really into IBS, then they usually think, well, there's nothing I can do about this. I can't cut anything out. So off you go, love. You've got to live with it.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
when
Yeah.
I get them. So then you come to
Yes.
me because, of course, you're still suffering with this. You've
Yeah.
been told you're not going to die. Hallelujah. But you've still got to live with this
With
every
this.
single
Yeah.
day. And then if you go to the chemist, anything you're going to buy over the counter, things like Imodium, things like Senna,
Senecalm, I saw
fiber
all those
gel,
things.
all of these
That's what
things.
came up first when I was just having a little read beforehand. It was adverts for all those like Senecalm and this calm and that, all those different tablets.
And
Yeah.
they can be, yeah, they can be incredibly helpful at managing the symptom. But of
Yes.
course, what they're not doing, and what I'm really interested in, is understanding the cause. Because if we
Yeah.
get the
Of course.
cause of this, then we can put something together that means you can manage this.
Manage
So
it.
over-the-counter things, great, you know,
Well,
if
it's a
you just
quick
need to
fix, like
control it for the
anything,
day.
isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we need to know, why is this happening? So I kind of, if I'm sitting with you in a consultation, I've kind of got 4 areas that I want to talk to you about. And usually somebody will present, and when we start talking, actually, you can trace the beginnings of this right back, sometimes into childhood. So if we think, first of all, why this might have happened, let's assume you were a child that had lots of ear, nose and throat infections, and you had one bout of antibiotics after another. Or maybe you were a kid that had glandular fever. Do you remember when we were at school? Everybody was getting glandular fever.
I had glandular fever when Aeneas was born.
Right. So again, lots of
Awful
antibiotics.
thing.
Antibiotics are great things for fixing a bacterial infection, but they wreck your gut bacteria.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So if we have that, that might have been the beginning of problems. And I'll explain this a bit more as we go. Then later on, you maybe go to uni, you don't live so well, you have a bit of time when you're partying heavy, your gut doesn't enjoy that. Yeah. Maybe then you go off traveling, you could pick up a bit of food poisoning or gastroenteritis. That's another kick in your teeth for your gut bacteria. Maybe then you have a baby, but you have him by C-section, not natural birth. Massive trauma on the gut, on the gut bacteria. And slowly but surely, your gut bacteria really becomes so imbalanced that it just can't do its job. And what we've understood is this little ecosystem of bacteria that lives in our large intestine is totally amazing. You've got about 2 pounds of bacteria living in your gut, and it's there doing masses of different things. It's working with your brain, with your nervous system, with your immunity, but it's incredibly important for your digestion.
Yeah. So we should really be looking after the gut.
Totally. Right. We spoke before about Simprove, the probiotic that we both love.
Yeah, we both love that.
Terrific thing for correcting the imbalances in the gut bacteria. Quite often, if we can see that your bacteria is on its knees and that needs some support, we might well then start to see that there are some specific foods that you've begun to notice just do not suit you anymore. And again, I'll often say, but you know, did you used to be able to eat bread, or did you used to be able to eat onions and leeks? And 9 times out of 10, someone will say, yeah, this has only been quite recently. Yeah. And again, what I want to know is the probiotic is called Simprove, Symprove. It's super stuff. It's lovely. There's another one called VSL number 3. Both of them very, very good. So yes, we might have discovered that now there are a few foods you're struggling with, and these can quite often fall into the category of foods, the FODMAPs we call them. And these are really healthy foods. They are all part of the carbohydrate group, or they contain carbohydrates. So there'll be fruits, vegetables, pulses, lentils, wheat, dairy, and artificial sweeteners. And they all come in. FODMAPs just stands for, it's an abbreviation for the different chemical names of their family groups. Fructans, oligosaccharides. Who wants to say that? So we say FODMAPs
we'll say FOD.
instead.
FOD's great.
Yeah, too right.
FOD off. FOD off.
Yeah, FOD right off. And these FODMAPs, the thing that they have in common is they all require fermenting as part of their digestive process. And for about 3/4 of people suffering with IBS, they are struggling with this fermentation. Right. And so these foods are not unhealthy. These are really great foods. They just happen to need this fermentation. So don't get carb phobic. You don't need to do that. But what we have to do is a 3-stage low FODMAP diet. And there's I kind of want to drum this message home to
Go
people
on.
watching me,
Yeah.
because a lot of people are talking about FODMAPs now. This is not something to bugger about with. This,
Right.
you've got to know what you're doing with this. There are 3 stages to the diet. The first stage is for about 4 to 6 weeks, not 46, 4 or 6 weeks. You exclude all of the FODMAPs from your diet. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Take them all out, and ideally, very quickly, you will start to feel so much better.
Yeah.
That tells us, right, you are sensitive to some of these FODMAPs. The thing that often happens is women jump into this diet, feel better, and then stay on it. It's not a diet for life. It's an investigation.
Right.
It's a short term. So we have to move on to stage 2, where we reintroduce the foods in a very strategic way and start to see, right, it's not all the FODMAPs you're sensitive to, it's just 2 or 3. And you might then discover, right, so let's say, I don't know, yogurt, leeks, and broccoli are 3 things that if you eat them, you're in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Great. Well, then you know you can avoid those. But there will also be some foods that you can tolerate in small amounts, or you can tolerate them if you have them 2 or 3 times a week. But if you had, let's say, toast for breakfast, pasta for lunch, and a pizza for tea, you might overload on wheat, and actually that could leave you feeling poorly. So the final stage of the diet is actually tailoring it and personalizing it so that Meg knows, I can't eat broccoli, onions, or leeks, otherwise I really feel rough, and I can eat wheat, but I have to plan out how much I can have. And just
so I'm going out for a pizza. I won't have it for breakfast or lunch.
You've got it. So it's, you know, so absolutely, you've got to do all of those 3 stages.
Brilliant.
But there are some much simpler things to do. So one of the other areas that we need to look at is, particularly if somebody is struggling with bloating and also fluctuating from constipation to diarrhea.
Right.
So, and again, it's probably worth mentioning, you know, whatever your norm is okay. So if you're somebody who has a poo 3 times a week, or you're somebody that goes 3 times a day, any of those are fine as long as you're fairly consistent. It's when you've got a big change, there's a problem.
Right. Yeah.
So if somebody is fluctuating from constipation to diarrhea and they're getting a lot of pain and they're getting a lot of bloating, it's often quite a useful thing to first of all start thinking, well, are you comfortable actually going for a poo anywhere other than on your own toilet? If you're someone that holds it all day and you wait until you get home, there may well be an issue that you're contributing to this. This is not good news. Similarly, if you're somebody, and I bet you would relate to this, or another group that I see a lot of is barristers who are having to present to the world constantly that everything's great, when in fact inside their tummy's doing flip-flops, you know, that kind of anxious tummy.
So as we talked before, I have very bad anxiety. So, you know, I know my digestive system is, to talk quite openly, I do have diarrhea, but I know that is all playing with the anxiety from the head to the gut to that. So when I wake up in the morning, I go to the toilet straight away, but it's not that solid, because it's all to goes with, because I have this thing of when I wake up and I have anxiety, like my eyes open and it's there. There's no reason for it. It's something that we're trying to work on. I'm trying to do different forms of different things that we will get to the point of it, because, you know, I have nothing to worry about, but I do worry. but I'm a worrier. My mum was the same, but we didn't call it anxiety. We just called it, oh, she's such a worrier, you know, and I think it's hereditary.
Do you remember when they used to say she's got trouble with her nerves?
Yeah, nerves, and she's just a worrier. And now the
that?
word's anxiety. So, you know,
Yeah.
but, you know, so that's
Yeah.
me. But, it, you know, so I know that that is not the IBS because that's been my pattern. But if it did start to change,
you know,
if it did change, then I would start to worry. Yeah. But that's my norm for me. So would that be in the diary that I'd get from you? Would we write down our
we might, I mean, again, what a normal
what our
stool
toilet
looks
was.
like. Yeah,
yes.
And quite often I want to know what it looks like. You know, some people will do lots of little pellets. Some people will do a nice kind of large, well-formed stool. Some people it will look like a cowpat. And again, there's quite a range of what's normal, but the change is the thing is really important. But let's think about this large intestine. So this is where it all goes on. The colon rises on the right, transverse is under your rib cage here, and the descending colon's on the left. This is where all the IBS is happening. Normally, that is a bit like the esophagus. Certain foods make me sad, if that makes sense. Oh, yeah, I can get that. There might be all kinds of associations with it, but it's
feel down, can't they? Too much of anything, but also we do know that
you can get
you get like, you know, that and that, don't you? You go up
and then you get
down.
slump.
You spike and you're up and you're down. So yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, I know, and I know it before I do it, but I still will do it. We're all human.
Yeah. And certainly moderating the types of carbs, having more of the low glycemic carbs like seeded breads, baby new potatoes, basmati rice, all of these things can help level out those blood sugars. That's more of a blood sugar thing than an IBS thing. But when we come to this anxious tummy, quite often it's about the muscles in there. So in that large intestine, you've got circular muscles which work a bit like a piping bag or a snake's body. And what they're like that because they squeeze the waste down the pipe. Okay, in the same way that in your esophagus you've got muscles here that do the same thing. It's the only two places you've got those muscles. Here, you're pushing the input down, and there you're pushing the output out. So when you get the sensation of I need to go for a poo, it's called peristalsis. It's these muscles squeezing the waste along. Generally,
I quite like that feeling.
Oh gosh, it's lovely, isn't it? It's like, you know, it's lovely. I'm going to have a clear out. Marvelous. So, but when normally the trigger for peristalsis will be your brain deciding you're going to eat something. So if you walk into a baker's and you smell fresh bread, that could be enough to trigger this off. Or you even decide what you're going to have for lunch, or maybe at about 12:30 when you know you have your lunch at 1 o'clock, you might get this sensation because your brain is conditioned. It's shouting to your gut, she's going to eat something, make a bit of room.
Well, I just have to say, being a recovering addict, that even the thought of having a drink used to make me want to do a poo.
Absolutely.
And certain other things before. I'd be like, oh.
Very much so. So all these sorts of stimulants, again, can easily trigger that. But for people who have a lot of anxiety, often they will channel that stress to their tummy. And so what happens there is these muscles, instead of applying to the normal triggers, they lock and they stay locked. And because you've got waste material in there, it gets trapped, it gets bunged up, and your you don't get that sensation. Constipation. Waste
Yeah.
is sitting in there, you get a buildup of gas, then you get bloating. And bloating is when your diaphragm pushes down like this to protect
Yeah.
your internal organs from the gas, and you get that bloated tummy.
Yeah.
So those muscles have contracted, the waste is sitting there, the gas is building up. Quite often, water will enter the large intestine at that point, and the stools become quite waterlogged.
Yeah.
Now, if you imagine you've got now soft, waterlogged stools,
Yeah.
lots of gas,
Yeah.
when those muscles relax without a normal trigger, you're going to get explosion.
Yeah.
You're going to get a really difficult bowel movement to control.
Yeah.
That's when you can start to get accidents. That's when you can start to get urgency. That's when you can really start to get a problem. Now, again, actually, that isn't about the food you're eating. It isn't about necessarily your gut bacteria.
Yeah.
It's about how you're managing your stress. And very often, part of the treatment package, the toolbox of treatment that I will give somebody is get yourself on some mindfulness, learn some meditation, go to Pilates, go to yoga. You know, you don't have to be in a massive high-powered job to be living with stress. If you've got a couple of kids, if you've got a house to manage, your own business to run, you know, a dodgy relationship, whatever it might be,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
can be living with stress.
I'm with you on it all. Yeah.
And if it starts going into your tummy, you know, I will never say to somebody, well, you've got to get rid of your husband, get rid of your kids, change your job, move house, just to manage your IBS. You can't do that. But this is your body telling you it's not happy.
Yeah.
And you are going to need to find a way to live with this. And sometimes that will just be, you know, learn to get out and have half an hour to yourself and walk. Go and have a hot bath and just relax in the bath. A lovely thing. Abdominal massage at bedtime. So you're lying down flat on the bed and you just gently massage this large intestine along.
So you just go all the way around to the other side. Yeah.
Someone else could do it for you. You can use a carrier massage oil, but it's a lovely nurturing thing to do. Ultimately, what you're going to do is stimulate those muscles to relax. You should, over time, then start to re-establish your normal triggers, and also you'll start to disperse the gas that has caused the bloating through the night. Now, don't panic. You're not going to lie there farting all night, but it will just gradually calm down and the bloating will disappear. And it's a very, very useful thing to do. So what we tend to see women do is embarking on crazy exclusion diets because they've read somebody else has gone gluten-free or whatever it might be.
Lactose-free, gluten-free, all these things.
You know, lactose-free is about as trendy as a Prada handbag these days,
Yeah, of
isn't
course
it? And
it
the
is,
reality is,
everybody is celiac. Everybody's got, you know, I was tested. I wasn't, you know, because I was also thinking, oh, maybe that's the reason. Well, no, I was absolutely fine. No gluten intolerance, no lactose intolerance. I don't do dairy anyway. I do, you know, nut milks and stuff like that. But I didn't have any of it. But I was sort of hoping, really, that secretly thinking, yeah, that's the reason. And it wasn't. It was just like, maybe you need to cut back a bit. The 500 calories you told me to, I've been trying. And the 10,000
Meg,
today.
I'm sending you a cyber hug for saying that. I tell you why. There are so many organizations out there ripping people off.
I know.
And sending hair samples, saliva samples, blood tests, giving them then this long list of intolerances that they have. You cannot do a test for an intolerance. There's nothing to measure. This is not a food allergy. But for the vast majority of us, and you know, you and I know this, what we actually needed to do was clean our act up. You know, our digestive system struggles because usually of the way we're living our lives.
Our stomach,
Yeah,
it all needs to move. It needs to be deep breaths right into the abdomen, walking outside, breathing, like you said, taking in the nature, moving. I mean, this is all part of what our digestive needs as well. It's just as important,
of
you
course it
know.
does.
And
And you know,
and
we're
I
often,
kept telling
yeah,
everyone
you're so
500
right.
calories, 10,000 steps, you know. All my
Love it.
girlfriends are doing it. They're all doing it. They're all trying. It's, you know, I see it's not as easy as it looks, but, you know, if we are all
No,
sitting around as we're doing, sorry, I don't know what that is, complaining, you know, I put on weight, I put on weight. We all sit there complaining. And then I'm said, right, Nigel said 500 calories, let's all do it. And we've all started doing it, but then it's all a bit like, it is a bit more difficult than you think. But I
it
just
is.
said, let's, you know, the snacking in the evening, I've stopped doing that, and I do feel so much better. I am sleeping so
Oh, I'm
much better. I
glad.
don't think it's my liver. I think I have actually made a rule and just said 8 p.m. no food, right? So that, you know, that sleep for me has been a lot better, a lot deeper, because it's not having to work and you know, an overactive liver trying to break down all this, you know, things that I've decided to snack on.
Yeah,
Whatever it is, like we said before, it's still having to digest, which is still not going to make me have a deep sleep. So, you know, I have slept a lot better this week
yeah.
just by not doing the snacking. And also I wanted to say, which you will know about,
Brilliant.
I'm a massive fan of,
Mm.
of kombucha, which is a fermented drink. And have you
Oh,
had this
right.
yet, Nigel? Because I'm going
I
to send you
haven't,
some.
no.
Okay, so
Lovely.
kombucha basically is a completely fermented drink. And it's very new in the UK. It was quite big in the States. That's where I discovered it. And this company called Go Kombucha, they're out in, I think, West Sussex as well. They're out in Sussex, and it's fermented green tea and sugars, and it's so fermented that it's the same as, so good for your gut flora drinking this, that it's like as good as eating sauerkraut. So
Right,
getting rid
right.
of your drinks, I love it when I can introduce something new. I'm going to get these sent to you because, and you read it, it's like so good. It's like a fermented food.
Yeah,
So it's really good for the gut.
it
I'm going to have a
probably
swig now.
falls into the category of foods that we call prebiotics, and
That's
they're
what you will call it. Yeah,
essentially the
that's the
things
word.
that fit. Yeah, so they feed the good
That's
bacteria.
exactly what it's
Um,
called. Yeah, yeah,
Cracking. And these are, once you've actually got your gut bacteria rebalanced and you've got that sorted out, there are loads of great things like that that you can do to
yeah.
support good gut health. Often, if you've had something asking about histamine problems, that's another talk we will do, specifically about
Yeah, we
histamine
can do that.
intolerance.
Whoever it is, I'm having Nigel on once a week. So, guys, we'll whatever you want, you just
um,
shout out, because Nigel, I just can't get you enough. Give hugs. Can't wait to meet you in
too
person. I
right.
will soon.
I
Yeah, I think
know, I
it's
need a
great the way you
cuddle, for
talk.
goodness sake. There's not
Yes, we need a big hug,
lovely.
definitely.
There's,
Yeah.
there isn't
And
enough hugging at the moment, is there? Never
oh
mind all
no,
this
finding it.
elbowing.
Yeah, it is a human hug. There's nothing better, is there? There
There isn't,
isn't,
there
you
isn't.
know. And
No.
yeah, I mean, my daughter loves a hug, but it's not a very. It's, you know, it's a bit limp when they're teenagers.
Yeah,
I want the
I
big.
think that's what you get with the dogs as well.
Yeah.
Cuddling up with the
Oh
dogs.
my
If I
God. I
didn't have
mean,
my
for me,
dogs,
I'm like, I mean, you've got your little ones, but Ziggy's 32 kilos. So when he's on me,
oh my goodness.
like, not like that, everybody do not get visions of that, but I'm talking about when
Yeah,
he's just decided to fall asleep with all his weight there is nothing better than that weight and that heat feeling on me, you know.
Yeah.
It's
It
just,
is. It's lovely.
yeah, it's so nice. I mean, you have yours dotted everywhere. He's just
I
like,
know. Oh gosh. Yeah. They're like
yeah, and then he
spots.
gets
They're
too
all over
hot.
the
But I must
place.
say, he breaks my sleep up. As we said before, he's on the bed, off the bed. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
have it any other way. People are like, why doesn't he sleep downstairs? I mean, if I shut him out the bedroom, he'd have a heart attack. You know, he's so
Well, he's his mummy's
codependent.
boy.
Well, I think I'm just as codependent on him. So, you know, I want to say that he's going to be, what do they call those dogs? Therapy dog.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to have to train him up soon, because he'll probably have to come with me to all my talks and stuff to keep me sane. You know, there's nothing better
I
than that.
wanted to ask you as well. Congratulations on the book.
Oh, thank you.
I've
I
been seeing
know.
all your posts. That
I
looks
am going to
fabulous.
send you one. Basically, because of COVID, we only had 3 books delivered. Usually we get loads, so we only had 3. So one went to Penguin Random House, one went to my partner, and then one went to me. So there's only 3 in the country, but then the rest are arriving, I think, because they're printed in Hong Kong, so they're coming in on if they do get in, September. So I'll get the books
Oh,
in
great.
September. So I will sign one and I will
I'd love
send
to.
it to
Love
you.
to see
And
it. Yeah,
thank you.
lovely.
And I'm very excited. It was something that was on my bucket list, and I really never thought that I would have written a book. Of course, I did have help because I'm dyslexic, but that, you know, it was just such a joy to do and exciting to do it.
I think the thing
And
is, if it's your passion, it doesn't matter. You know, of course,
no,
we all get help with different things. That is not
yeah,
the
of
issue. The
course.
passion comes through. So well
Yeah,
done you, because women will
thank you
love
so
this. I think it's
much.
going to be lovely.
Yeah,
Good.
I can't wait. So it's out in October, so we've got quite a while yet, but it's just nice to start talking
Yeah,
about it now, you know, and
definitely.
getting
Definitely.
people. And the thing I have to say is that when I flick through it, it is not just pages of fonts. It's exactly what I wanted. It's illustrations, it's little boxes, it's different. It's like, you know, people have given me the most amazing quotes. And anyway, I'm not allowed to give too much away, I've been told, so I better
The thing
they
is, what
keep
it
telling
sounds
me I
like
talk
though,
too much.
but what it sounds like is it's going to be dip
Yeah,
in, dip out wherever you feel it.
yes, that's how
Just,
you
you
feel.
know, I was just thinking there when we were talking about, you know, this gut health and the
Yeah,
IBS, the reason as well that so often I find that I'm dealing with this at the same time as looking after somebody's menopausal weight gain
yeah,
or their symptoms is we, without doubt, see much more of it in women around the menopause.
yeah,
And we don't really know why. It could be that it's just happens to be, you know, that period in a
yeah,
woman's life when she's taking stock and doing an MOT on everything,
yeah,
and she suddenly thinks, actually, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. It's been bothering me for
yeah.
years. There's another theory that I have, that perhaps the pain and the discomfort gets worse because in the same way that around PMS,
Yeah,
those hormone fluctuations can cause that pain and
yeah,
dysfunction.
absolutely.
If that's happening at menopause, maybe that's involved.
What about the
But either way,
cortisol
it
levels
is
rising? Is that could be
possibly,
because
possibly,
I felt that, you know, that my cortisol levels in the morning, that's when I was getting anxious, were very high. And I know,
yeah,
and I would feel uncomfortable when that was quite high, you know. And I
sure.
think that I'm very, you know, I'm very sensitive with my body, and I'm very in tune. So I think that's why I was able to, you know, really go deep into this, because for years I've always sort of been in tune from having, you know, colonics. I don't know, I'm very with my body, because
Yeah.
you know, anything that's why I think I have an allergy with alcohol, or with most things. I'm very sensitive to a lot of things. Not saying I can eat like a trooper, but what I'm saying is I know that if something's, you know, like the hormones are low, or the estrogen is low, or something is out of balance with me, I will
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
And I mentally
And
will
that,
know.
you
And
know,
my stomach, you know, in the morning when I mean, when I have a really bad anxiety attack, you'll probably have heard this. I mean, I literally want to dry retch. I want to go like that. It comes from my gut. So now I know, because I never ever believed that the gut, it's only in the last probably 4 or 5 years that the gut health and the flora and the mind was, you know, together.
yeah.
You know, I never would have done that. But then when I thought, you know, I'm anxious, but then I'd be like, oh, we really want to feel like that. Or it's like, you know, when you've got you think back to when we were doing O levels and
Yeah.
A levels, not GCSEs. You know, you had that feeling that you wanted to do a poo before, you know, because you're anxious, you know, before your
Yeah.
exams, you know,
Yeah.
you get
And you
that,
know, our body likes, yeah, our body likes to
you
be in
know,
a
so
state called homeostasis, where everything is steady. And when things begin to change, either hormone fluctuations or
yeah,
anxiety levels or
yeah,
adrenaline, it really doesn't enjoy that situation. So if you are
yeah,
experiencing lots of fluctuations, you are going to experience some form of discomfort. And for so many people, that goes straight to their tummy.
yeah, and
And it
that's
doesn't
me.
mean you're desperately ill, but it does certainly mean that if you can take notice of what's going on and really look at this in a very rounded way, not
Yeah,
just what did I eat last, that must mean I'm allergic to it. Don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Look at
yeah,
what actually is going on in your whole life, and
yeah.
you will very easily be able to pinpoint what's causing
So this
this. And then, of
diary
course,
that they
what you
can
need
get
to
from
do,
you, your diary. So
yeah,
they go to the menopause dietitian, yeah, go to your website,
yeah,
and
let me know that you want
then they
it.
can
I'll send it out
just
to
email
you.
you, and then they can start doing this. Yeah, I think it's really good, ladies.
Absolutely,
I
yeah,
think in general it would be good to hook up, and because we know that we're, even with all the hormones, our liver is having to work overtime with all, you know, with all the estrogen, progesterone, you know, it's working the whole body all the time.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And if very often just taking some time out to really look at what your food choices are, how you're living your life, make some simple changes. It's quite often you only need to do that. You know, you maybe only need to talk to me once and we can put
yeah,
it all together in a plan that you can go away and do.
great.
Some people like to work with me longer, over a, you know, a
Of
3-month period.
course,
You
yeah.
do what's right for you, but ultimately this is very much about finding out the cause and then putting a personalized plan together rather than one size fits all, or pick something off a shelf randomly that, you know, that your mate tried and worked. It may well not be something that's going to be helpful for you. Yeah, all my consultations are via Zoom. Absolutely. I got clinics in Harley Street and in Dublin and in Leeds, but at the moment, everything is Zoom. And it's
Brilliant.
great.
Okay,
You
so
know,
every women
look
who
at
are
what we,
on there, just remember you can just get in touch with Nigel, and you know, if you are wanting to get to the bottom of it, because I think it is so important to get the gut. And if you have this IBS, or you even think that you have, or even if something isn't right, get in touch with Nigel, because he'll be able to help you, you know, feel right, because there's nothing worse than feeling bloated, uncomfortable, you're out, your dress all of a sudden, I mean, I can take a picture, wake up in the morning, take the side view picture, you probably, yeah, and
yeah,
then take it before I go to bed, and I look like I'm 8 months pregnant.
Right.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sometimes I'm not even eating that day. So, it's, there's something going on that my stomach's not happy with, you know.
Mm, mm, yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's important to, to get to the bottom of these things. Like you're saying, it does affect a lot of menopause women.
yeah.
And
I think if it bothers you enough, that's important. If it's bothering
absolutely
you, if it's interrupting your routine, if it's stopping you doing certain things, that's important enough to me. Life should not be
agree
like
with you.
that.
No. Well, I'm going to look because we're nearly
It
at our
is,
time and we don't want to cut out again.
we
So,
are, yeah,
Nigel,
I
it
know.
was so lovely to speak to you about IBS, and
Fabulous
we
to
had
see you.
such lovely messages, and it's always a pleasure. So we'll talk about what we'll do next week, and we'll come up with
Yeah,
something really
lovely
good.
to
And
see you.
ladies, don't forget, all met gentlemen, we made back into the IGTV because we don't get that many people actually on at this time. But then when it goes to the IGTV, it means that anybody can watch it day and night, and it's there forever. And
Yeah,
basically, yeah, get in touch with Nigel, please, if you're doing this, because there's nothing worse. And don't just keep going to the chemist for the quick bits, like if you're constipated, how people used to get addicted to laxatives. Anyway, Nigel, love to
yeah.
you and your dogs. And I
Yeah,
will,
lovely to see you too, Meg. Big hug.
big hug. See you soon.
See
Loads
you
of
very
love.
soon. Take
Bye.
care.